Welcome back to the Rouges. We're talking everything Canada soccer and U.S. soccer. Tonight we're going to be continuing part 3 of the important dates for the 2022 calendar year. And on that note, if you haven't seen parts 1 or 2, the links will be in the description below. So before we do part 3, quick announcements. Reminder that the video will be, these segments will be 20 minutes max. That way it's not too long, but at the same time I don't want to rush through these. And as well as they're all up in the air due to the current pandemic that's going on. So, a couple of reminders there. And other than that, I mean, there's nothing else. Reminder to stay tuned for the videos. But without anything else, here we are. We're going to begin with May 28th. We have the UEFA Champions League final in St. Petersburg, Russia, which this is significant to both U.S. and Canada soccer, because as you may not know, there are many Canadians and Americans alike playing in the Premier League or in the Champions League. Any other teams that are playing in the Champions League, whether it be Bundesliga, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, or even Ligue 1. So we've got a lot of talent there from America and Canada that are playing in, already playing in the Champions League, including Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David. You have Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie. You know, we got big name players like that. So this is a reason why you should keep tabs on, always follow the UEFA Champions League, as you know, there's a lot that either could happen that we could potentially have 2 Canadian players playing each other, or 2 Americans, or America versus Canada. So always keep your eye out there, as that's always going to be an interesting match. We'll see how that one shakes out. So May 28th, mark your date on that, is the UEFA Champions League final in St. Petersburg, Russia. And then we go to May 30th to June 14th. There is a FIFA Men's International fixture window. And what this means for Canada and the USA is, instead of playing general friendlies or generic teams, this will be the start of CONCACAF Nations League, the same one where the USA had that heck of a game against Mexico last summer. And Canada beat the USA in 2019 to basically make the statement that Canada's on the rise, and here they are. So that tournament is only in its second year, or second ever time happening. So it was paused due to the pandemic in 2020, but it's back, and they finished it, of course, last summer. USA, yada yada yada. But the 2022 edition is here, and yeah, we'll see if the USA can hold on to their crown, or Canada or even Mexico snatch that crown. And I think if anyone were to do it, it would probably be Canada would try and steal the crown, although the USA could just refuse to relinquish their grip of that crown. So we got to find out, and that's only, I think, stage 1, round 1. I think when we get closer to, we'll know the official drawing and the official matchups that we'll have. So we just got to keep an eye out for May 30th to June 14th, as that's going to be the start of the Nations League. And it looks like we're going to have quite a few games given the length of the window here. So that date is also important to U.S. and Canada soccer. And then a summer TBD date, we have Leagues Cup, which is all MLS teams versus Liga MX in the final format of this tournament. As we all might not probably heard yet, the 2023 edition of the Leagues Cup will be widely different, as it's going to be every single MLS team next year against every single Liga MX team. So it's going to be a huge tournament, and there's going to be a lot more spots for CONCACAF Champions Leagues up for grab rather than just a cash grab this year. So I'm really, really looking forward to that edition. I may or may not talk about that or do a separate video about that later down the line, although that might just also be another sub-special video. So we'll see, you know, how I feel about that. Will I make it a special, or will I just talk about a random video, you know? So, but I do know that this is the final year's edition of the Leagues Cup, as we know, where I think there's 4 teams from MLS and 4 teams from Liga MX that will be competing. However, next year is going to be the widely expanded 30, I believe, MLS teams, maybe 29 if one is not ready, but all MLS teams versus all Liga MX next year. That's going to be one heck of a tournament to watch. And you know, we always, you know, anytime the USA and Mexico clash, it's a battle of giants. There's fireworks and everything. So can't wait to see that. So keep an eye out for that. It's TBD. But the final year or the final edition of the CONCACAF the CONCACAF Leagues Cup format is this year. So we'll have to keep and wait for that. And then we have another summer TBD date, which is the 2022 Canadian Championship Tournament begins. The same one where CF Montreal knocked Toronto FC out of the championship in the final round to win it all. And TFC for this one's going to be looking to get vengeance, obviously. And as they're rebuilding this year's squad, they've already got a few big signings. One big, with I don't know why I forgot his name, but it'll come back. But Insigne, obviously he's going to be coming there, and rumor has it they're going to get Belotti and a few other big name signatures. So TFC in this case, my favorite MLS team, this is going to be interesting to watch, as we'll see if they can get vengeance on the CF Montreal and take back the kings of Canada in this one. So, or will another CPL team spoil the party like Forge? So that always keeps it interesting. You can always have cup sets, as they call it, or we can always just have the same two or maybe three, depending on the Vancouver Whitecaps, how good they are. We could always have a good, strong tournament in that case, or a tournament full of surprises. So we just got to keep an eye out for that one and see how that one begins. And then, so that's TBD, so we'll know that when it comes. But then on June 13th to 14th, we have the FIFA Club World Cup 2022. Scrap that. No, not the Club World Cup. FIFA World Cup 2022 Intercontinental Playoffs between the fourth place finishers and all the other finishers that did not directly qualify for the 2022 World Cup. So, in terms of U.S. and Canada's regards, we have fourth place finisher. Whoever gets fourth place in CONCACAF will most likely play New Zealand, although it's still TBD as things can happen. But this date is really significant. I mean, obviously, we all hope that both Canada and USA qualify, and none of them will have to worry about this date. But should it happen, it will be June 13th through the 14th, and most likely New Zealand, unless they get upset by another Oceanic or Asian playoff team. So just keep an eye out for that, and hopefully with Canada, USA, just get it in, take care of business, and the two windows that they have for the remainder of the early 2022 year, and hopefully they never have to worry about that. But things happen, and should it happen, it will take place on June 13th to the 14th. So that's that. Hopefully nothing happens. And then July 8th through the 17th, we have MLS Heineken Rivalry Week, which normally would take place in August 20th through the 27th, or around that day, or that week. This obviously is happening a little earlier this year due to the FIFA World Cup, and so it's going to be happening a month earlier, and it's still going to be fun to watch. I mean, you got newcomers Charlotte FC, which looks like they're going to forge a new rivalry with Atlanta United, regional rivals, and then you got Nashville, although they're moving to the Western Conference. They're still going to have rivalries with Atlanta and potentially Charlotte as well. So you can already see that with Charlotte joining the league in the South, that southeastern area, that whole area of Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, and even Tennessee, they're all going to have their own little death pit, as you call it. You have Inter Miami, Orlando. However, Orlando also has another rivalry with Atlanta, although Atlanta doesn't really see them as a rival because they've dominated the last couple of games, so they've called Nashville more of a rival. But then now you got Charlotte FC joining the league, and they want Atlanta as a rival and Nashville. So we've got an interesting case here. We got a lot of potential rivalries that will be built over the next couple of years in MLS, and I'm really looking forward to that. Anytime you see the rise of new rivalries in Major League Soccer and in the CPL, that's always a big thing, a fun thing to watch. So hope Charlotte FC can really make this happen, just become a contender. Either way, I think it will. I mean, just geographically close, and anytime for the most part, anytime there's geographical rivalries or geographical teams right next to each other, this creates rivalries. So we'll see what happens during Heineken rivalry, and of course you got the classic NYCFC versus New York Red Bull Hudson River Derby. You've got the Hell is Real Derby, SC Cincy versus Columbus Crew. You've got the El Tráfico LAFC versus LA Galaxy, and if they slide it in, you've even got the California Clasico versus San Jose Earthquakes and LA Galaxy. You've got the Texas Triangle between Houston, Austin, and FC Dallas, all battling for the Cannon. And you've got, of course, Cascadia, Portland, Vancouver, Seattle. You've got the I-95 corridor, DC, New England, Philly, and the New York Red Bulls. So you've got a lot of rivalries here that are also in the making. So this is just awesome. Of course, I forgot about Sporting KC in Colorado. Those Minnesota they're trying to, I guess, start a rivalry with Sporting KC, but I don't know if that's really going to be a rivalry. So, or Sporting KC and Real Salt Lake, for that matter, is probably a better rivalry to mention in that case. But for the most part, or Colorado, Real Salt Lake, I can go on. Either way, you also got St. Louis joining the league next year, which is also going to create a rivalry between them and Sporting KC. Maybe even the Chicago Fire, too, if they want to keep that St. Louis-Chicago rivalry going between baseball and all that. So we just got to look and see. But either way, before I go really, really off topic, Heineken Rivalry Week is from July 8th to the 17th. And then we go to July 9th through the 24th. So this is happening almost concurrently. CONCACAF Women's Championship. This is when the U.S. and Canada's women's team will compete and really qualify for the 2023 Women's World Cup. And so that's going to be something to keep an eye out for. Obviously, Canada and the USA are favorites to qualify, and they're probably going to be the favorites to earn the two bids that are up for grabs. Although Mexico is trying to respond and trying to gain momentum and upset these two. So we just got to keep an eye out for the women's too, as they're having a big year. Both Canada and US are having a big year coming up for women. So keep an eye out for that, and that's going to be fun to watch. So hopefully Canada and USA can obviously qualify there, and they'll both be in the 2023 World Cup for the women. And then August 10th, we have the MLS All-Star Game at Allianz Field in Minnesota, home of Minnesota United. In this MLS season, I've already said it earlier in part one, it's going to be an exciting year. We're going to have a lot of All-Stars probably coming to rise. Obviously, Lorenzo Insigne will be in there for TFC because, why shouldn't he, right? He's probably the biggest, or arguably the best player in MLS now, and once he arrives in June or July. So, I bet money you can have him there at that All-Star game on August 10th. And if he's not, then what is MLS doing? And that is just going to be poor if he's not there. But I know for a fact he will be there. Everybody's paying. TFC's paying him big bank, which is obviously one of the biggest club record signings in the league to ever happen. So you can count on Lorenzo Insigne being there for TFC, as well as a couple others probably being there for other MLS clubs, American and probably Canadian base as well. So that would be fun to watch in Minnesota. And then August 10th through the 28th. So at the same time, we got a new event that I really haven't followed or really haven't watched. So this is going to be interesting if I decide to cover this or not. It's the FIFA U20s Women's World Cup. And as I said, I might or may not cover this. But if I do, it's extra content and it will be uploaded. And I don't know if I'll be able to give it a lot of details of it, but if I am, I'll just be able to probably talk about how they played, the performance of the match, and what it means for both the U.S. and Canada should they qualify, and or should they win their U20 World Cup respectively. So I have to see how things go in August, and I may or may not cover this depending on who else is playing during this time. If there's the other U.S. or Canada senior team friendlies going on or tournaments, but I think I might cover this in August, right after the All-Star game. So keep an eye out for that if I do, and I'll probably send a reminder in one of my later videos. So just keep an eye out for that. But then after that, we have a TBD date, 2022 Campeones Cup between NYCFC and a TBD Liga MX champion. And so that's going to be fun to watch as well. Of course, NYCFC, we all know, coming off their huge MLS Cup win, first in franchise history. And, That's going to be huge for them. You know, they're trying to compete for their first international trophy, as well as if they can't claim it already in CONCACAF Champions League. Obviously, they're going to be having a few pieces that are be missing. Um, One of them went to Charlotte and then got transferred over to LAFC. I think it was Tajuri Shradi. So they won't have Tajuri Shradi, but they will have probably. We'll see if they have the pieces to kind of replace those missing players or um, just build back better in that regard. And so that's the Campeones Cup, and recently the recent champs of that is the Columbus Crew. Um, they recently won their first international trophy after winning last year in the fall against I think it was Cruz Azul. I'm not sure if that's right, but it's against a Liga MX opponent, and that was a big milestone moment for them, given that all their club has been through. So reminder that don't forget to watch that um, when that happens. NYCFC versus the TVD Liga MX opponent, and then September 6th to the 7th, or 13th to the 14th, depending on, once again, fingers crossed because of COVID. Hopefully all this happens. Lamar Hutt U.S. Open Cup Final will take place, but as I said, hopefully the tournament's not canceled. But I mean, this tournament's always fun to watch, as I said in part 2. You've got a lot of minor U.S. clubs trying to compete against MLS soccer teams and take them down, as they say. So we just got to see who gets that far in the MLS Cup Open Cup Final, or U.S. Open Cup Final, I mean. But that's always going to be interesting to watch. So September 6th to the 7th, or the 13th to the 14th, depending on when they decide to take place, and hopefully it's not canceled due to the current pandemic. And then September 19th to the 27th, we have another FIFA Men's International fixture window. CONCACAF Nations League will continue. So once again, Canada and USA will continue playing their respective teams that they are given in the draw. Should that take place earlier, probably soon. So that's another important day, as always, to keep tabs on. You know, CONCACAF Nations League is always going to be fun to watch, and I'm not sure if the final is going to take place in the fall or whether it takes place in 2023. I think it might take place in the spring of 2023 because I think, given in 2019, it was supposed to take place in 2020, but due to obviously due to the pandemic, things changed. So maybe it's going to take place in 2023 is when the Nations League will end and conclude. So that's going to be fun. But either way, it's more soccer, more football to watch for both US and Canada. And then October 9th, obviously you have MLS Decision Day, a big day. You know, obviously if your club hasn't made it already in the MLS, TSC hopefully will make the playoffs this time. Obviously last year was a rough year. We were in the rebuilding process, and I mean, it was brutal to watch. I mean, even losing the CF Montreal in the Canadian Championship final. But hopefully they'll bounce back this year, and especially with Lorenzo and Sanya, and if they do manage to get Belotti and a few other signings, then that'll be great as well. But we got to just keep watching and see how they perform. And but Decision Day, obviously a lot of chaos is going to be happening, like last year's Decision Day. Orlando City's Dero Dike's goal sealed the deal for them to make it in playoffs, despite crashing out shortly after. But either way, you have chaos. It's going to be chaos on that day, and that's always a fun day to watch. October 9th, MLS Decision Day. So that's that. Really not a lot there besides just keep an eye on if you have an MLS team that you follow. Just keep an eye and see if they make the playoffs, and that'll be interesting. And then I think the final topic I'll have time to cover for this part 3 video is a TBD date, and it's October or November. So it's actually a transition from the last topic. It's the 2022 MLS Cup Playoffs, and obviously that's going to be just as chaotic, even more chaotic than Decision Day, as teams will be trying to look to win the MLS Cup, or NYCFC will try to be defending it in their case. So those days are already going to be interesting. So October, November, TBD. But either way, we're going to have ourselves a fun MLS Cup, hopefully this year, especially with Charlotte. We'll see what they can do this year. But in terms of that, just like I said repeatedly over in this video, we just got to see how things goes, how MLS teams perform in this 2022 season. So And hopefully Toronto FC will qualify for the playoffs, and we'll be seeing them around this time of the year, later on this year, performing in the playoffs. So with that, I mean, not really a lot to say besides, as I said, just got to keep watching. But with that, hope you liked this video. Part 3, 20 minutes are up. Part 3 of the video has concluded, and the final part will be part 4. We only got a couple more dates to talk about, and obviously the FIFA World Cup will be in there. But that's part 4, so that will be released shortly after this one. But if you like this video, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends about it. Share it with them. And also remind all your friends about the important dates, and continue to remind them about interesting dates that might stand out to them, as we've got an interesting 2022 ahead of us.